Hello, welcome to the sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Open Series in Houston. I'm Nick Miller alongside Joe Lossett. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Not quite as well as I would hope, but I'm doing reasonably good.
Right. X3-1, still alive potentially for top 8.
Yeah.
You know, chasing the Open Series points. We all know you from the Players' Championship, numerous top 8s. You've grown accustomed to blue-white heroic here in Standard over the past couple months, but you're trying out something a little different. People on social media were clamoring for a deck tech, so here it is. You're playing Jeskai Heroic, red only for Teamer Battle Rage.
Right. I mean, Jeskai. We don't need to call it Jeskai. This is Battle Rage Heroic.
All right. You're
raging.
raging.
Yeah. This is. I really like the Heroic deck. I know it hasn't had too many high-profile finishes the last few weeks, but I still think it's pretty solid. Mm-hmm. And I spent some time at the Nerd Rage store. Went out and visited.
Shout out.
The owner was like, "You should try Battle Rage in there." I'm like, "That's absurd." He's like, "Come on." I'm like, "Fine, okay, give me the cards. All right, let me get some, throw a mana base together." And then the first match I played with it, the other guy played like Whip of Erebos intact, and he went up to like 21. I'm like, "There's no way I can win this." And then I looked at my hand. I'm like, "Well, actually, all right, attack with all these guys." He's like, "Okay, block like an elf here and an elf here and an elf here." I'm like, "Defiant Strike, Battle Rage, like trample for like 23." I was like, "Whoa." And then I had to actually go in and like actually make it work and fix the mana so it actually made sense and do all this stuff. But I was excited right away once it was like, this is cool. And
we've seen you all over the span of the weekend, you know, thinking you get in these situations where it's like, well, I can't possibly win. But it's like, no, there are a sequence of cards where you can like string together Defiant Strikes into a Teamer Battle Rage. We saw you on camera beat a guy on turn 4 through 2 removal spells.
Yeah, that was fun.
Definitely very potent. Let's break down the deck. You've got your normal suite of heroes. You got your favorite hoplites, Hero of Iroas, Battlewise Hoplite, but you're trying out 2 Monastery Mentors in your creature suite.
Yeah, so I was playing, once I moved away from the Helios Pilgrims, then I tried Fabled Heroes, and those are all right. But then once Battle Rage comes in, the double strike on the Fabled Heroes is redundant. Okay, well, we'll put some other guys in. I went with no 3-drops. I was like, this doesn't feel, I was like, okay, Mentors, and yeah, they're fine. They're like not overwhelmingly good, but I like them.
Right. They produce plenty of tokens in this deck because you have plenty of pump spells. You also got the one Seeker of the Way.
Yeah.
A little bit of life gain, but we'll talk about your life gain here in a little bit.
Okay.
You got your usual pumps, Defiant Strike, God's Willing, Feat of Resistance, all your protection spells. You got your Ordeal of Thassa, but you also have 3 Ordeal of Heliod main deck, and that's to compensate for the life gain?
Yeah, I mean, before I was playing more Seeker of the Way and less White Ordeals, and I didn't want to drop too low on the overall life gain because, you know, this like 4 or 5 seemed like a good number. And so it's like, well, I don't really feel like, once I put the Mentors in, I was like, I don't feel like I need as many creatures, but I still want the same amount of life gain. So I cut a Seeker for an Ordeal so that now I have an extra pump spell instead of an extra creature, but it's still the same total cards to gain life.
Right. Now, an interesting thing to look at here, you don't have the evasion suite like Stratus Walk or Aqueous Form that a lot of players, especially like Steve Mann and Logan Mize, have been playing.
This is my evasion. This is my evasion right here. I'm not. I was like, why do I need? I don't need unblockable stuff. I don't need. Well, first of all, Stratus Walk I was never a big fan of anyway because every time I play Stratus Walk, they'd have a dragon and it's like, well, it doesn't do anything. And Aqueous Form's nice, you know, but Aqueous Form you can attack and you can get erased, you know, and then they block anyway or something. And it's like Battle Rage. You go ahead and block. Like I won a game yesterday where a hero got blocked by a Stormwrath Dragon and the opponent took like 12 damage. I was like, yeah, this is great.
Not a bad scenario there. Break down how the double strike and the trample and all that works when they try to block with a dragon. For those that don't know.
Yeah. So if the blocking creature is just a normal creature like an elf, then they just take 1 billion damage and you win, which is nice. If it's for example, if they Valor Stance their own guy or for some reason it's indestructible, then you assign lethal damage once, and then it's still been assigned lethal damage even though it doesn't die, so the rest goes to the face. With a protection creature like Stormwrath Dragon, it doesn't actually take any points of damage, so you actually have to assign damage on first strike and on regular strike. So the dragon actually absorbs 8, which stinks, but in the case where I did, like 12, I was actually, attacking, it was actually a 10 power guy, so it was actually 20, so dragon absorbing 8 was not enough.
Still plenty of damage.
Battle Rage is, when it's for a little bit, it's like, okay, it's a nice burst of damage. Like I played against a blue-black player and I battle raged for, I think, a 6 power guy early in the game. So I hit him for 12, and then that guy died, but he was so low that I was able to chip damage over time. I was able to squeeze it out. And then against the green decks especially, they have hordes of blockers. and just it's hard to see coming.
Right.
And it's just because what are they going to do? They don't want to throw a large creature that's just going to. They don't want to chump block with a 5/5. And so you chump block with a 1/1, and then you take 15 damage, and it's over.
Okay. And with it being the only red spell in your deck, I saw you a lot of times yesterday hide your red mana source in your hand until you're ready to play the spell.
Yeah.
So for the most part, people didn't really know that was something that could come out of the deck.
Yeah.
But very powerful.
So I went from 1 mana confluence in the straight blue-white version to 3. So, I mean, I need a more additional other mana sources, but also it allows, because if there's a red dual land, an astute player who's up on the metagame and aware of what cards might play, it's certainly possible they'll figure out, he's got red in here for something. Yeah. Maybe it's Battle Rage. But if it's just confluence on the board and they don't know, there's no way to see it coming.
Right, because they expect to see that in the deck usually.
Yeah.
And once someone saw the Team or Battle Rage, they're like, well, what other red spells could possibly be in the deck as well?
Right, then they start thinking that too, and then you go sideboarding and they're like, what does he have?
Yeah, so it's very nice. You also got the 2 Valor stance, trying that out. As you said, something that provides removal in the mirror as well as protection.
Yeah. Now there aren't many mirrors here, and I actually caught a break on this because we actually played the deck in regionals last week, and for whatever reason, Southern California regionals results didn't get posted along with everyone else at the beginning of the week. So even though my friend top forward with the deck, essentially nobody knew about it until Friday, and that was really people that were writing about or talking about the metagame had already written their articles by the time the deck went up, so a lot less people knew about it than it would have otherwise.
So the tech stayed secret for this.
Somewhat, yeah. And then the Valor stance, I liked it quite a bit. It's like my friend played it sideboard, I played it main, but I mean protection from Crux of Fate, which is nice because in hostilities, a lot of that. But then the ability to wipe out a lot of blockers in the mirror. You're not expecting. Well, previously you're not expecting there wasn't removal in the main deck, so you can catch them with that sometimes. But also with Battle Rage, like if you don't have enough to trample over for the whole amount, like let's say they block with Siege Rhino.
Right.
Well, you could Valor Stance a Siege Rhino, then Battle Rage, and there's no more blockers, so they just take the full amount.
Whole amount.
Yeah. So
all right, I like that.
Battle Rage is I love it. It's really neat.
You got the one of Treasure Cruise, which you have a bunch of fetch lands. You have an additional just Windswept Heath to facilitate that. Yeah. But you also got an extra one in the board. We'll take a look here. You've got a nice counterspell package between 3 Stubborn Denial, 3 Disdainful Stroke.
Yeah, so
control matches.
Yeah, I mean that came from. I was just playing the Stubborn Denials. I was actually playing 4 before, and then the Florida players, Logan Mize and Stephen Mann, were actually playing the set of 3 of each, and I thought that was really a pretty good idea. So I went ahead and adopted that. And then the second Treasure Cruise, there was 2. Most heroic decks have 2 Treasure Cruise somewhere, usually on the board. But I felt like rather than try and I wasn't sure what I wanted for another spell. Like Triton Tactics is nice. I was like, I'll just put Treasure Cruise in the main. That way it saves a spot for the board. And also I don't want to draw 2 in game 1 ever. But the first one is usually pretty decent.
The first Treasure Cruise is always great.
Yeah.
Of course, you got 2 Erase, 3 Glare Heresy, and the 4th Ordeal of Heliod for more life gain.
Yeah.
Glare Heresy, with the amount of Abzan running around, it is always live.
Yeah, and for the mirror and for Jeskai Ascendancy. And actually, I was playing 4 Glares before, but because of Valorous Stance giving you additional removal that works in the mirror, I felt like I could cut one.
Yep. And then you got the Legato band Trailblazer, the 0-4.
Yeah.
A lot of people have them in the main deck. Most people have a few in the sideboard. You cut them from the main deck entirely.
Yeah. I mean, I have played, I think at regionals I played 1 in the main deck, but I mean, I think everyone pretty much agrees this card stinks, but you want more heroes, and like against the mono red decks, the 0-4 is worth so much. Yeah. So, and I almost feel like there's extra space in the board. Like, you have what you need for the matches you want it for, and there's a little space left over, so like, okay, we can afford a couple spaces for red.
Yeah, it's nice to have that buffer. He's also pretty good in the red-white matchup where he's outside of all their burn range.
Yeah, he gets around Bile Blight, Lightning Strike, all that. Yeah, and red-green too. They have no removal that can kill it at all at the beginning of the game, so it does some good, even though it's frustrating. But one did attack for 16, so with Battle Rage.
I assume Battle Rage is involved there.
I was like, well, okay, he can get the work done too.
Right. Not bad. Well, Joe, this deck is sweet for people looking to play heroic. This is a nice little, push to the archetype. Going somewhere else, maybe even opening up new possibilities. Yeah. But
I'm happy with it so far. Like I wasn't sure at first, but I really grew to like it, and I'm pretty like. Next time I play Heroic, it will almost certainly still have Battle Rage in it.
I knew it was growing on you when you talked to me in Indianapolis for the Legacy Open, you're like, I kind of wish this was a Standard Open. That's how you know we've reached a certain point.
I know.
with
I was super excited about this.
All right, Joe, thanks for sitting down with me at this deck suite. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Houston.